welcome to another lawnfawn video. Today we are so excited to be introducing our brand new set, Home for the Pawlidays and its coordinating dies. Home for the Pawlidays is a part of Simon Says Stamp's exclusive Stamptember event, and this set is only available for a limited time. And these pups are oh so cute, so let's go ahead and check it out. First up, we're going to start by stamping out the stamp set, and then we're going to be making two adorable cards with it, including an interactive card. And first up, we have these super cute dogs. I love the little dog with the reindeer ear headbands. My dogs actually have one of those little headbands. We have the adorable little pup with a gingerbread in his mouth, and the other dog that has the Santa hat on. We have a super cute doghouse all decked out for the holidays, and this adorable little Christmas tree that you can use to help set the scene. I love the little bowl with the little candy cane toy in it, and of course, our doghouse has to have a little welcome mat for the front of it. We have a tiny little wreath that's really cute for decorating, putting in the dog's mouths, or adding on to the doghouse. And then we have all of these cute little presents. So we have this little box of treats with a bow on top, a little gingerbread man, the bone with the bow, which is my favorite. I just think it's so very cute. And then another little present, and it's really fun to pile these up together to create cute little scenes. We also have these little lines that can show the dog's tail wagging, which I think is just an adorable little touch. We also have these little shine marks, which are super cute to stamp over the top of the star on the Christmas tree. We also have these tiny little images that are perfect for stamping in the little dog bowl. So we have a heart, a star, and a little bone. The other thing that I like to do with these is I like to make my own custom pattern paper using all of these cute small images, and you can fill in the spaces with the little hearts, stars, and bones for the cutest look. We also have some words that were designed to fit into the doormat, and they kind of have that angled look to them. So of course we have wipe your paws, and we also have welcome. And I love that you could stamp either one of these into the mat, or you can even stamp one of those cute little icons there, like the heart or the bone. We have some cute little phrases that are fun to stamp around the dogs. We have bow wow, crunch, which is so cute with the one with the little cookie, and happy holidays. And then we have some wonderful sentiments. So we have Merry Christmas, and we also have Happy Holidays. And then we have some sentiments that can go great with these or also be used on their own. We have There's no place like home for the Pawlidays, which is so sweet. And then we also have Wishing you love, joy, and treats, which is also another favorite. I have so many favorites in this set. It's so cute. And then we have the phrase From the bottom of my heart, which I think is really sweet because you can mix and match it with the other phrases. And then we have Made with love too. Now I'm going to be using my Copic markers to add some color to these adorable images, and these little dogs just have my heart. They are so super cute, and they are so much fun to color in. And what I like to do with dogs is I either like to think of a dog in my life, either my own dog or my friend's dog, or sometimes I'll even Google different dog breeds and kind of get inspired by the different colors of their fur and cute ways that you can color them or add spots or things like that. I just have so much fun doing that. So in this case, I kind of got inspired by golden retriever type colors, but I decided to use them on this cute little guy, and I just think it's so much fun. And then of course here I'm coloring his little headband here with a nice pop of red for the holidays. And then, of course, I need to add some rosy cheeks and a little pink area in their ears. There's something about the little rosy cheeks that just makes them look so cute. Now for this little guy, oh my goodness, he is one of my favorites. I love that he's got the little gingerbread cookie in his mouth. I think it's just so cute and sweet. And I'm using here some grayish markers, kind of like a dog that's got some black and a little bit of gray. And I'm just going to be blending those out. And you can see that I added the darker marker towards the outside, and then where there's kind of overlapping lines around the paw and the tail there. And I'm just blending those out. And then of course adding my cute little rosy cheeks. And then I'm just going to go ahead and color in this little gingerbread man so he looks like a toasty little cookie. Now, this little dog is really cute to color him in more like those Shiba Inu reddish brown colors, but I wanted to try something different, and these warm gray markers look really cute on them too. So I love that you can just really play around with the markers in your stash and just have so much fun coloring in these little guys. And so now I'm just going to go ahead once again. I've got my dark marker, I blend it out with my medium, and then into the light. The other thing that's great about coloring in these dogs is no matter how you do it, they're going to look cute. The imperfections is what makes it look more like fur, which I just love. Now here I'm going to add a pop of red to the Santa hat, and then I just use a little bit of a warm gray marker on the white areas of the Santa hat to help it pop. Now, for the doghouse, I decided to use red. I always think of red being the color for doghouses, and of course, for a holiday card, this is just going to be perfect. And so I'm going to blend out dark, medium to light, and I'm going to have my darker markers towards the outside and then lighter towards the middle. And then for the inside part of the doghouse here, I'm going to be using some brown markers, and I'll be using those same brown markers for the roof too, so that everything kind of coordinates. And you'll see that I brought in a darker marker there. It was just a little bit too light, so I decided to bring in a little bit of a darker brown just to add a little bit of shadow. And then for the lights, this is so fun because you really could use any colors that are going to coordinate with the card you're creating, or maybe coordinate with the pattern paper that you might be using on your card. And so I really like the green, yellow, and blue here. It really felt nice and bright and festive. Of course, for this cute little Christmas tree, I'm going to use green, and this little green combo here is amazing. I believe Tammy from Lawnfawn's design team shared this color combo with me, and it makes the prettiest, brightest green, and I just love it. And so we're going to add all sorts of pops of green to a bunch of the images, and now I'm going to bring in that same red combo that we used on the doghouse, and we're going to use that on these images as well. And I like using the same markers, one, because they're already out on my desk, and two, by using the same markers, everything's going to coordinate so beautifully on my card and just really look nice and cohesive. And so I'm really using these traditional red and green Christmas colors here on a lot of these images, but of course you could use any kind of color combos on these. It's a fun way to bring a pop of color onto your card by using lots of different colors on all of these fun little extra elements that help set the scene. We did on the Santa hat, I'm using a warm gray on any of the parts that I've left white just to give them a little bit of pop. And then we'll use those same browns that we used on the cookie there for the doormat and just color that in nice and light towards the center because I'm going to stamp one of those images on it in just a little bit. Now here are the coordinating dies for this set, which you can bend apart at the tabs or use your wire snips to separate. You can take the coordinating dies and line them up with your stamped images, hold them in place with some low tack tape, run it through your die cut machine, and you'll have beautifully cut out images every time. And now that all of the images are cut out, I wanted to add some extra little details. So I'm going to stamp right into that cute little doormat, the wipe your paws, which I think is just so sweet. And I'm also going to stamp the little heart into the bowl just to give that fun little extra special look. And then I'm going to take a white gel pen and add some white gel pen lines to these images. And you'll see as you add them, they really make them pop and feel kind of like three-dimensional and kind of have that fun cartoonish feel to them that I think is so cute. And so I'm just doing little round lines wherever there's different round areas of the images and adding little white dots into their rosy cheeks. And you'll see that it just gives this fun look. I always have a blast adding these little white gel pen lines. And now here you can see all of the images in this Home for the Pawlidays set. And there are so many fun ways to mix and match these together. You could, of course, use any of these cute dogs on their own. You can have them around the doghouse. You can have the little doormat there. You can create cute little scenes with all the little presents around one of the dogs, which I think is really adorable. Or you can add those cute little presents on top. And that wreath is a perfect match for the doghouse. So you can put it right over the bone that's on the doghouse and decorate it even more for the holidays. So I think these little guys are just so cute and sweet. And now it's time to make a card with them. And we are going to be making a Tada diorama card with these. And we're starting off with this spiffier speckles paper, which has this beautiful gold foil on it. And one of these papers is in a white color. We call this one the Yeti paper. And it has this beautiful gold foil. And what we're going to be doing is using some ink blending on this. So right here we have our Tada diorama die, and we're going to take the main base piece and die cut that main base piece, and then ink blend over this white paper with the gold foil for a really cool look. For the ink blending, we're going to be using peacock feathers, uncharted mariner, and also chip sapphire just to add a little bit of darkness. I'm going to put the lightest color here in the center, and then as I build up that color, then I'm going to go into my medium color blue and bring that in from the outsides and watch these two colors blend together to create this really pretty like nighttime holiday-ish sky that I thought would be really cute for these dogs. So you'll see here I'm kind of going into that turquoisey color, and then I'm going to bring the turquoise color back out to blend those together. And then here is that chip sapphire, that darker blue, just to bring a little bit of extra dimension to this. And now you can see how the gold foil from the paper shines through the ink blending for the most beautiful look. The next step in creating the Tada diorama is to cut the side panels. And here I have some polar paper that has these beautiful foiled snowflakes on it. And we're going to be die cutting 2 of these side panels. Now, this die here has created two score lines for us on there, and those are going to be guides as to where we're going to place these slot creator pieces. You'll see that the slot creators have arrows pointing down. That's going to go towards the bottom of your pieces, and then it has this like funny little foot there. That foot needs to point to the bigger panel on this piece. So you'll see we have those score lines. It's going to go in between the score lines, and you want that foot to point towards the bigger piece. So I had to flip my paper over. Now the foot is pointed towards that bigger side, so I know that's the correct place to put it, and I can hold it in place with some low-tack tape. Same thing on the other side. We're going to put the piece between the two score lines, and that foot is going to point towards that bigger panel, just like that. Once you see that the foot's pointing towards that panel, you can line it up with the bottom edge in between the two score lines and hold it in place with some low-tack tape. Then we're going to run these two through the die cut machine, and you'll see that we have these slots now on both of our side pieces that are going to be in perfect placement. And if you've never made a Tada diorama before, make sure to check out our intro video. We will link it in the description below. The next step is to fold along the score lines that the die created for us, and we're going to be folding away from ourselves on both of the score lines on both of the pieces. Then we can bring back that main base piece that we ink blended on earlier, and we're going to attach these two side panels to that piece. So we're going to be adding some tape runner on the skinniest panel there. So it's just to the right of that score line, right onto that skinniest side. So you'll see we'll repeat the same thing there. We have kind of like three folded panels on the smallest one. We're going to be adding our tape runner right onto there on both of the pieces. Next, we'll take one of these panels and we're going to fold it in half along the score line that the die created for us. We're going to make sure that those little slots there are at the bottom, and then we're going to line it up on the main base piece. You'll see we'll line it right up to that edge, and you'll notice that at the top and the bottom of this, you'll see a little bit of blue peeking out. That's exactly how it's supposed to look. Then we can press down and secure it. Now for the second one, it's even easier. We're going to fold it in half, make sure the slots are at the bottom, and then what we're going to do is just butt it up against the other panel that we already added, and then you can just press down and it will be in perfect placement. And now here you can see the awesome Tada diorama start to form. The next thing that we need to do is work with the inserts. And so we're going to be using the Tada Diorama Hillside inserts here. And I've gone ahead and die cut them out of some pixie dust cardstock, which is a really pretty glittery cardstock. The Tada Diorama Hillside inserts have these really awesome little score lines there on those little tabs. And so I'm folding back along all of those score lines on both of my hillside pieces. Next, I'm going to take one of the hillsides and feed it through the back slot of the Tada diorama. Once I do that, I can open up those little tabs, and that's going to help hold that in place. Then I'll repeat the same thing with the other side. So I'm just going to feed it through the slot, and then once again, I can open up those little tabs, and that's going to help secure and hold this awesome hillside in place. Then I'll repeat the same thing with the second hillside. So I'm going to feed it through the slot, open up those tabs to secure it, and then go along to the other side, feed it through the slot, and open up the tabs. The next thing that we need to do is work on the front piece. So we're going to put that aside, and we're going to die cut that name base piece again from this really pretty textured red cardstock. Then there is the window creator that is included in the Tada diorama, and we're going to take that and we're going to center that into our main base piece, hold it in place with some low tack tape. Then we can run it through the die cut machine, and that's going to give us our front window piece. The next thing that we need to do is create the bands that are going to be holding our side panels in place. So we're going to die cut the band die from the Tada diorama from that same red cardstock. That happened to be what I had on my desk, but you could use some white cardstock as well. And we're going to die cut two of those bands. The die creates score lines at the top and bottom, so we're going to fold back against those score lines on both of the band pieces. And then we're going to take some adhesive and we're going to add it above the score line on both ends on both of the pieces. Then we'll flip over that window frame piece and we're going to line up the bands. You'll see that there's a little notch on the band and there's a little notch on the window frame. And so you'll just line up those notches, centering it there, eyeballing it is just fine. And then you'll go ahead and line up the notches on the other side. And now you'll have a band on both sides of this window frame. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to feed the side panels from the piece that we created earlier through those bands. So there you can see I'm just adding it right through, and that's going to attach this window frame on to the Tada diorama. Then we'll repeat the same thing on the other side. We'll feed the side panel right through that band, and now the window frame has been attached to the Tada diorama, and you can start seeing how it works. Tada! It's so cool. It's such a fun three-dimensional scene, and I cannot wait to decorate it with this Home for the Pawlidays stamp set. So here I have all of the images that we stamped, colored, and die cut earlier. I'm going to add some tape runner completely to the back of the doghouse, and I'm actually going to attach the doghouse to that back blue sky. And I like attaching things to the back panel and then each of the hills because it gives it this really fun dimension. Next, for my favorite little pup there, I'm going to add some tape runner to the bottom of him, and we're going to layer him in to that hill there, kind of the back hill. And now we're going to add this next little guy to the front hill, and I'm just going to layer him right down on the bottom of that hill. And he is looking so cute there, and I love that the pop of red goes so great with the red frame. And oh my goodness, this is so cute when it opens up. I just can't help but smile. It's just so sweet. And right now I was trying to decide, gosh, how am I going to decorate the front of the card, like when it's all closed? And I had all these cute other images, so I wanted to create a scene on the front panel. So all I have to do is just pop off that window frame. I'm going to put it aside for now and start to work on the front. And I'm starting off with some armoire paper, and I've trimmed it down to be about 3/4 of an inch, and that's going to be my ground. So I'm going to trim this here to 4.5 inches wide, and then we're going to trim that in half to 2.25 inch, and you'll see why in just a second. This is going to be the perfect size to layer up on both of the panels. So I'm going to layer this one at the very bottom of the panel on the right, and then I'll layer my other piece on the panel on the left. And by cutting that same pattern paper piece in half, I'm able to have that continuous pattern, which I really love because it looks really seamless when it's closed, but the whole thing can break apart in half. Now I can add that window frame back on just like we did before. We're going to feed the side panel through the band, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So if you ever change your mind or come up with a new idea of how you want to decorate the front, I love that you can just pop that piece right off, decorate it, and then add it right back on. And now I'm just going to play with the Tada diorama because it's so cute and so much fun. I love that that big three-dimensional scene forms. And now it's time to start decorating the front. So I'm going to take one of the other dogs that we colored at the beginning of the video and layer him on to this cute little design on the front. You can see I have the card completely closed flat, but as I add my images, I'm making sure that I don't layer them between the seam of the two side panels. So you'll see here now I have this cute little guy, and then I'm going to take some of those other little fun elements like the Christmas tree and the cute little bowl with the candy cane and layer those there into the scene, once again making sure that I don't have anything crossing over that seam in the center. And I just think this is looking so cute and sweet. Once I liked the design for the front, I can open it up, and I wanted to add some more of these cute little presents and treats to the front here. I thought it was a little bit plain on the hill, and I like the idea of the little guy in front having like his little pile of presents. I just thought that was really sweet. So we're going to add the gingerbread man, the little treats box, and also that cute little wreath, and just kind of layer them, kind of like we layered the presents on the front of the card, so they'll kind of echo each other. Then I went ahead and stamped a really cute sentiment and die cut it with a sentiment banner die, and it says wishing you love, joy, and treats. And I'm going to layer that on to the top frame of this awesome Tada diorama, and that's going to be the sentiment, and I think this is looking so cute. Now, you can put the Tada diorama on an A2 size card, or you can create a mini card that's the same size as this awesome die. And that's what we're going to do here. So we're creating a card base that's 4.5 by 3.25. I'm going to add some tape runner to the front of the card base, and then we can just layer our whole interactive card right on top. And now this card is all done. And what I love about the Tada diorama is that it folds completely flat for mailing. So you're able to create the cutest Home for the Pawlidays card. You'll see how flat that is. You can put it in a standard envelope with standard postage. I always like to use super cute washi tape to secure my envelopes. And you'll see here, oh my goodness, when the recipient gets it and they open up their card, the most adorable little dogs are going to be on the front. And as they open it, they get an even cuter scene inside with that super sweet doghouse and that adorable little dog holding the gingerbread man that just makes me smile. I love this so very much, and I cannot wait to send this card to someone. Now, next up, you're in for a treat because Shari has the cutest card. So take it away, Shari.
So for my Home for the Pawlidays card, I've already colored and cut out all my images. I'm using almost every image in this set. And I'm going to be creating a foursquare card. So I've cut my foursquare backdrop landscape from some chili pepper cardstock. I'm going to use this lighter teal plaid from the favorite flannel petite paper pack for my background. So I'm just going to trim this down so that it fits behind that red stitch frame. I'm using some liquid glue to glue my red frame to that plaid pattern paper. And I'm just going to make sure I have this nice and straight because I am using that orthogonal plaid. So I want to make sure that all those lines are straight with the frame. Then I can go ahead and add this whole piece to a card base. And I'm ready to create some cute little scenes in each of these squares. Now I am pulling out the Spiffier Speckles Petite Paper Pack, and I want to use this white with the gold splatter. I've used that same foursquare backdrop die to cut two partial rectangles here, so I have that really nice stitching detail, but I do need to trim them down just a little bit because you can see it's a little too high for my images. So I'm trimming it down just shy of 1 inch for both of these, and these are going to go on the bottom. So I'll go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of each of these and drop them into that frame. You get that nice stitching detail that the foursquare die creates. I'll do the same on this side, and I'm using white for these because the images I'm using on these, they're going to look like they're outside in the snow, especially with that little doghouse. Then for the pieces at the top, they're going to be inside eating some cookies. So I'm using that green with that gold speckle from that same Spiffier Speckles paper pack, and I'm just trimming those down as well. For these, I also use the die so I get that nice stitching detail, and then I'll just add adhesive to the backs and drop them in the frame at the top. So now I have two snowy grounds for my scenes on the bottom two squares, and then I'll have this green that's like the floor or the countertop for the two scenes that will be in the top two squares. Now for my sentiment, I'm using the sentiment in this set that says Happy Holidays, and I'm going to white emboss this onto a piece of blue Jay Cardstock. I already put some anti-static powder on there. I'm stamping it with some clear embossing ink and then adding some white embossing powder. Then I will just heat this up with my heat tool till it melts and I get that bright white sentiment on that dark blue cardstock. Now I want to trim this out with a banner die, and I thought I would use this banner die that is part of the Tada Diorama die set because it fits perfectly and it also has this fun stitching detail around the sides. So I'll just line this up and hold it in place with a little bit of removable tape. And I've just added some foam squares to the back of this little banner, and I will line this up with that center piece of the frame. Now to bring in all my fun images and create my little scenes. For each of these dogs and for the doghouse, I'm using some thin foam squares. So these are a little bit thinner than a regular thickness foam square. And this is going to allow me to add regular thickness foam squares to my other little accessories and get some dimension between the images on each panel. You could also just glue these to the background directly and add foam squares to the little accessories. But I thought this would be a fun way to pop everything up. So I'm doing the same thing to the doghouse that I did to the three dogs. And I'm making sure that I push this up enough so that I have room for the little doormat in front of the doghouse. And I stamped "Wipe Your Paws" onto that doormat. I also put thin foam squares on that one. Now for all these little accessories, I'm going to use some regular thickness foam squares. So for this cute little tree outside the doghouse, then I have this little present to go under the tree. And then I also have this cute little dog bone with a bow on it. And I'm just going to cut a foam square in half because this is a small image. I do really like taking these little images and making the two scenes kind of cross over and become one across that frame. Now for the images at the top, I'm doing the same thing. For this treat box, I am using the thin foam square so I can tuck it behind that candy cane and this cute little gingerbread cookie. Now that I have everything in place, I'm going to use some of the little stamps in the set, like this cute little stamp that you stamp to make it look like the dogs are wagging their tails. I just think that is so adorable. Then there's some small sentiments like the Happy Holidays. And then of course I love this one with the one eating a cookie that says crunch. There's also some really tiny stamps in this set. So I have the little tiny snowflake and I'm using some peacock ink. I'm stamping that little bitty snowflake around my two little frames at the bottom because these are kind of my outdoor scenes. So it makes sense to have that snowflake. And then I'll use the teeny tiny heart in this set to do the same to the two squares at the top. Now no card is complete without some shimmer and shine, so I'm adding some stardust stickles for some accents on each of my images. I added it to the headband on that one little dog. I'm adding it to the dog bowl. I'll add it to the bows on the presents and the tree. Of course, those Christmas lights need some sparkle. I added some to that little dog's hat. And then to the cookies like sugar, I thought that was really fun. And then finally I went and added a lot to that panel with the doghouse because it's outside. So I added it to the doormat, the tree, and then a whole bunch to the roof as if it has some sparkly ice and snow. Then to finish off my card, I wanted to stamp on the inside. So I'm using the sentiment that says wishing you love, joy, and treats. And I'm just going to stamp this in some Blue Jay ink so it matches that blue banner that's on the front with the sentiment. And then I also pulled a couple of those really small images and I'm stamping those under the sentiment, which I just think is a nice fun addition to the inside of the card. And then here is my finished card with those cute little dogs. I love that they are all dressed up and ready for Christmas, and I just think that they are so much fun.
Oh my goodness, Shari, this card is so sweet and I love the 4 different little scenes. It's just adorable. And next up we have some amazing cards by the design team. And first up we have this incredible platform pop-up by Maureen. I love that she combined Home for the Holidays with a couple other favorite holiday stamp set, and this is just the cutest thing I've ever seen. This next card by Tammy just blew me away. She used the new Winter Wonderland window to frame this adorable scene of her cute little dogs and that really sweet doghouse. Megan's ink blended sky is so gorgeous and sets a beautiful scene for these super cute little dogs. I just love this card so much. Here, I love how Elise used all of the pups all gathered together with a really fun, bold sentiment below. I just love this design. Callie's pink sky is so beautiful, and I love the way that she colored her dogs too. I love that Nicole created a Tada diorama as well, and the scene she set on the front is just so fun. And I love that these dogs frame the awesome three-dimensional scene that she has inside. I think this is just so stunning, and I love that spiffy speckles paper on there too. Mindy used the Winter Wonderland window to create a frame as well, and I love how she layered one of her dogs behind the doghouse. It adds so much dimension. I love Yanea's pink and turquoise color palette for this holiday card. I think it's so sweet, and her little pups are just adorable with their tails wagging. And then this color palette by Audrey is so beautiful. I love the black, white, and red. It's so bold and gorgeous. And then Melissa's card is so sweet. I love her snowy background so much, and oh my goodness, we cannot wait to see what you create with Home for the Holidays, so make sure to share it with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!